Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Embrace the Chase, where we are interviewing over 100 entrepreneurs, actors, thought leaders, public speakers. It doesn't really matter what have you over the next year, so we can pick their brains, kind of figure out what makes them tick, what makes them successful, and if there's any advice they can pass on to us, so that we can learn from it. And tonight we have the Dallas James Pritt, who is an actor down in Nashville. Someone that I have known for a decent part of my life, and he's an incredible guy. So if you are not already following him, or you have not started watching the show that he is on, Still the King, definitely check it out. It's on CMT. But we have him tonight, and we're going to pick his brain. So Dallas, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
I love it. So you're an actor, let's see here, choreographer, dancer, singer, basically all the above, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you graduated with your BFA from Lipscomb University?
Yes. That was after my college experience was different. I actually went to 3 schools. So I started at Roosevelt University in Chicago, and I was there for a year, and it wasn't really a good fit. So I was like, I'm not going to be a performer. I'm going to quit. So I left, and I went to Ball State in Indiana for a year. And then my faith was kind of important to me, and then Ball State didn't really fit either. So then I went to a private Christian university in Nashville, and then I just kind of stayed here after I went there. So that's how I ended up in Nashville. So
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I did not know that story.
Yeah, the real
I'm
story.
representing LU, man. I also went to a Christian school. That's pretty cool.
We often, when we always say, we're talking about liberty, but we're not. It's Lipscomb down here.
I love it, dude. I love it. So I'm going to dive into the very first question. That's basically, what inspired you to kind of do what you do, become an actor, et cetera, all the above?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if there's something's triggered me to I have to do this, but I remember as a kid, I don't know, we went to some kid from church had the VHS of Cats the musical, and I used to watch it as a 5-year-old, and so I think that was the first exposure I had to that. So I was like, I have to do that. That looks so cool. Who gets to dress up like that? And I don't know. So I guess that was my first. So I think ever since then, it was just kind of a thing. And then I grew up in a sports family, so everyone was always doing sports, and it wasn't my thing. I pretty much did everything. I was just not good at it. It wasn't. So I think it just kind of started to become something I was decent at. So I just kind of was like, okay, I'll try this a little bit more. So I fell into that a little bit more, and I think I just invested in a lot more and tried to get more training and organized and see what the logistics were of actually pursuing it further. And it's kind of worked out so far, fingers crossed. So, but yeah, I don't know if there's one thing specifically was I'm going to do this, but I guess falled in place, and the journey's just taken me this route. So it's been kind of cool to see how it's turned out that way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So then, side question, obviously, going into college and kind of figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life, picking a major is something that freaks people out. Most people don't usually declare their major for 2 years. And for all of you who are watching either live or you're watching the recap, those of you that don't know, a BFA is a really difficult degree to get. It is not something that is a piece of cake. I know I've had friends in the past say, it's a musical theater degree. That's not that big of a deal. It is really difficult to get into a BFA program and finish it. So I guess, how did that transition happen? You obviously mentioned that going to a Christian school is important to you, but is there anything specifically other than just the love for the arts that drove you to push through to get a BFA?
I couldn't, there was advice from a Broadway actress named Shoshana Bean, and I kind of just picked her brain one day. I was like, okay, I don't really know what I want to do, but I'm good at this, and I don't know how, because I think I grew up in a family where we weren't really, knowledgeable about how logical it would be to pursue this as a career. Because, growing up in Dayton, as you know, it's a far, New York's 9 hours away, so it's not something you go to all the time. It's not something that's in your backyard. So I was I was like, how logical is this? Is this possible to pursue? And she said the only advice she gave was, if you can see yourself doing anything else, then do it. But if this is all you can see yourself doing, then you might as well put all your eggs in this basket and go for it hard. And so the more I went through high school, the more I was like, okay, do I want to be a teacher? No, I don't want to be a teacher. And then I figure that out through college as well, through the transferring of the multiple schools. I was trying to like, okay, is this really what I want to do? And the more I like went through it, I was like, no, this is it. Like, this makes the most sense. This is what I feel like my gift is, what I can give back. This is my craft. This is what I'm good at. This is what I know how to make a living at. And this is how I know how to use my skill set, and not just for myself, but how to benefit other people and things through that. So it just it made the most sense to do it. So that's why I just went ahead and did it, even though it was a hard 4 years. Almost went longer than 4 years, but luckily it was 4 years.
That's awesome, man. I think that's really cool. So then I want to pivot after this. So you graduate, you got your BFA. Can you kind of tell us the story of how you got linked up with, I believe it's Advantage Talent Agency. Is that correct?
Okay, so that's actually changed since I started. I'm actually with a new. When I first graduated college, we had a showcase, which basically is like casting directors, agents, managers, etc., who come, and the senior class is basically like, here's the people, basically like a job fair for actors, is the best way to like describe it. And our resumes out there, headshots, etc., and we just basically do what we do. And if you're lucky enough, you get picked up by somebody or get a job. And I was lucky enough to get with, at that time, it was Sharon Smith Talent. And I got hired with them, and I signed with them for a little bit. And through many auditions, it was like months, like 6 months of going in on calls. And it just kind of never seemed to turn up. So I was like, okay, whatever. And so then finally we had a call, I want to say it was September. I think it was September. Yeah. Or August, one of those two. And I went in for this audition. And at the time for television and film, it's very different than theater. You film it at your house, which is what's like behind me, like the screen that's behind me. There's like a light, like this is where I film most of my auditions, where I'm currently at. So you have to film it yourself, and then you submit it to your agent, and your agent submits it to casting, and then it goes through this whole process. So I self-submitted it, and I didn't really think much about it. When I first read for Chet, I was like, this is not going to happen. Like, this is hilarious, whatever. So I just kind of blew it off. And I just sent it in, and I didn't hear anything for like 2 months. So obviously you assume like nothing is going to come out of that. And then I call from my agent over the weekend, and I've been going back and forth with Book of Mormon for a couple of years now. They've seen me multiple times, and I was actually backstage at Book of Mormon here on tour. And I got a call from my agent going, hey, they need to come on Monday. And I was like, wait, in person? And she's like, yeah, they actually want you to read for 4 other roles. And I was like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, can you come? I was like, actually, no, I'm hosting a church party. I can't come. And she was furious. And she was like, you're really going to pass up an audition for a church party? I was like, yeah, I have like 30 people coming. I can't like be like, just kidding. Because it was like 2 days. It was like Saturday she called me, and I was like, that's not happening. So lo and behold, but I'll go on Tuesday. And she's like, okay, I'll call him back and see what happens. She called him back, and she was furious that I said no. And then she called me back and she said, you're lucky. They said they'll see you on Tuesday. And I said, okay, great. So they sent me like 10 scenes I had to learn. And I went in person. And the first like 5 or 6, maybe 7 were like really fairly decent. And then 8, 9, and 10 sucked, like horrible. Like I was like, I'm not going to get this job. I don't even know what I'm saying. And so it was cool. It was in front of like the main casting director and assistant. And then it also went on from there, went to the writers and Billy Ray and who else did it go to? I think the director after that point too. I don't really know that process. So I didn't tell my agent, but I was pretty sure I walked out, and I called my best friend. I was like, I didn't get it. I know I didn't get it. And not even like 24 hours later, I was back at Book of Mormon with my friend backstage, and I got a call, and she goes, they hired you as Chet. And I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? And she said, yeah, you start shooting in December. So put this on your calendar. This is the contract. We're sending you over. You have to join the union. Here's this, that. And so it kind of happened really fast. So fast after the second audition. So, but yeah, that was a really long story, but there you go.
No, dude, I love it.
The process.
So then what was through your mind when you were actually cast?
Kind of what, like, does everyone, What was it like when you were cast? What was it like when you're there? Like, you don't process it until after, I think. So when you hear it, you're kind of like, oh, that's so cool. And then, like, I just didn't think about it again. Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, yay, there's, like, my, like, thing. Um, and then I didn't think about it for a while. Like, I, like, shared it with people, and I put it on Facebook. Like, I'm so excited. I just got, like, my first television gig. And I just left it. I did, it just kind of, because that was October or something like that. So it was still, or maybe it was November. It was still like a month and a half away. So for me, it was like far away. It wasn't in my hands. It wasn't present. So I didn't really think about it. That's all. And then that was it. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad thing, but I don't know. I guess I couldn't process it really.
Sure, sure. So then I guess that kind of goes into my next question. So obviously, I'm assuming you're done filming for the season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So then how was it? Okay, it's kind of two loaded questions. How was it when you're actually on set doing something a little different, not obviously musical theater, but film? How was it doing that, kind of living your dream? And secondly, was it really any different working with Billy Ray Cyrus, or was there like starstruck, or like how did that whole experience come together? Because that just hurts my head.
Yeah. A little bit of all the above. So I'm a you know me from when we kind of grew up together. So I'm just a social person. So, because, like I was trained a certain way through college, like this is what you do. And then I'm being thrown into a medium. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. So I'm like intimidated. Not only is it my first television gig, but like the very first scene I'm shooting is with Billy Ray. And so I'm going like, what the crap? Like, what am I doing? So it was like, okay, I hope I don't screw this up. Like, I went over like the script 150 times, and I showed up like an hour early my very first day, just because I was like, I need to make sure like I'm not off my game. Like, I can't screw this. I met Billy was in hair and makeup. We were in the same trailer, and I was like chatting it up with all the hair. And he walks in, and I just stopped talking. I didn't say anything. I just instantly was like mid-conversation and just stopped. Because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was just freaked out. And he was so nice. Like, he was just like, you're Dallas, right? Like, he knew my name and knew who I was playing and told me how my audition was awesome and how he thought I was hilarious. And just, like, made conversation. He made it really, really easy on the first day. Because I think they all knew, like, and so everyone in general, even him, the director, everyone was just so welcoming, and that was the cool part. And my acting coach is an acting coach on that show and a bunch of other TV shows, and she was like, I hope you know, like, that's not a normal thing, so like enjoy that, because people aren't that nice in the real world. So it was cool because definitely that situation. But as my first like intro to that kind of world, it was awesome. Like, it was super cool. At the end of the day, after you work with them for like 6 hours or however long you were there, I mean, like star level, whatever, kind of just simmered down a little bit because we were just, reading lines back and forth and just going through scripts and doing our jobs. So that kind of left the room after a certain point. But at first it was like, what am I doing? I hope I know what I'm doing. So, but yeah.
That's super cool, man. I guess so. Then I have a different question than obviously what I sent you over beforehand. But when it comes to the acting world, obviously you have no idea when your next gig is going to be. But are there any specifics that you kind of want to head towards? Are you wanting to possibly go into film and movies, or what's kind of your next trajectory?
Well, like I said before, I can't share a lot, but Book of Mormon and I have been very close recently. So Elder Cunningham is on this bucket list of mine. So it's going to happen. I don't know how I feel about the content completely yet, but it's a role I'm perfect for. So I'm pushing for that a lot. I've been seen 3 times so far. LA tour and Broadway. So that would be great. I'm pushing for that. But I'm actually open to anything right now. Like, I'm taking anything that in the meantime. Like, I'm going back to Cedar Point. I'm calling it my last Ohio, like, farewell job, since, like, everything's moving to more, like, an elite, if we want to even say that, like, elite level. So like I'm doing my last theme park gig because I've done like a bunch of theme parks and other regional theaters. So going back to Ohio for the fall, just for like a really quick contract to be a singer for them. And then in the meantime, I also coach like high school drama and competitive show choir programs, which also is nice as well. So I mean, I'm doing a little bit of everything between gigs. So it's nice because I'm doing, the 9 to 5 cubicle job in between, and I have a lot of freedom to audition and do the things I need to do as an actor. So it's cool.
That's awesome, dude. My wife and I are excited to see the show, of course. And it's cool seeing where you come from.
I haven't even seen it yet.
Do what?
I haven't even seen it yet.
Wait, it airs in a month from now?
My character just came out this week, and I was getting a bunch of text messages like, "Oh, you're so cool," or "It was funny." I was like, "That's great. Haven't seen it." So like people, because I was choreographing all week. So crazy. Everyone else has seen it before I have. So it's aired. I just haven't seen it. So we'll see.
So then, how many episodes are you in? And then are you contracted for another season?
What can I say? Nothing has been talked about completely for next season. I would love to come back for season 3. There is definitely an open-ended plot for Chet. Chet can more than likely come back for season 3. Chet is only very, very briefly seen to support the plot line for Billy Ray to get his band back together for season 2. So Chet's very, very quickly in season 2. It's a small supporting character, so I'm not drastically affecting the storyline in any means. But they have left it open-ended enough that if they really wanted to, they could. But if they would love to, I would love to. I still talk with a lot of them, the producing team and directors, so it's totally in their court. So we'll see. I can't confirm or deny. I don't know. I have no idea. So we don't even know if there's a season 3. So who knows?
True, man. True. Well, then, all right. We'll segue away from that then, and I'm going to ask, what kind of advice then do you have for people who are aspiring to be actors or singers or actresses?
Yeah. So when you first sent this to me, I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to say. But then I actually thought about this. So I think for me, the biggest thing I've learned is to not judge the process. I think so many times for myself, like when you're in such an industry where it's all competition based, all you do is compare yourself to everyone else all the time. Where like, my best friend just booked, who was my roommate when I was in Chicago, and we talk like all the time. And he's done 3 Broadway television show and a commercial, and he's now a lead in another television show on NBC, which is coming soon. It's called, I forget what it's called. I would promote it, but I don't remember. He's going to be mad about that, but it's fine. So like all the time you compare to your friends and your colleagues, and you're like, well, they're doing this by this time, so why am I not doing this? Or what am I missing out on? And so I think for me, like what I've learned the most is to kind of just trust the process or throw it up to your higher power, to kind of just let the journey take you where it's going to be. Because I think everyone has just that. It's a journey. Like everyone have like A, B, C, and D done. Like that's not a thing. Like there's no book on how to for acting or how to in entertainment, because everyone has a different path. And I think everyone has a different way of doing it. And so I think that's the thing I've been learning the most, is that there's not one way to do it. There's multiple routes to the same goal. So that's the biggest advice I would give anyone, is that just go possible. And then when you run out of that, go get more. Keep seeing where that leads you. You got to build a foundation and go from there. And I think that's the cool part. I'm being so symbolic here, but we are like, otherwise, why would we all, what's the cool part about having the exact same thing that everyone else has? So that's the thing I've been trying to learn, is that we all have our own thing, and we don't have to exactly have what everyone else has, because our own time is coming and our own thing will happen. So, that's my biggest advice, is trust the journey and don't compare yourself to other people, because it's going to steal away from the cool things that are happening. So
that's true, man. That's great advice. I like it. Great advice. Well, then, last question: is there anything that's on your heart or mind, or anything that you just kind of want to say to everyone?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think in general, I think there's a lot of stereotypes about people who work in entertainment, and I think we get a lot of yeah, I think there's just stereotypes that we don't work as hard or that it's an easy profession, and it is not. As someone who's still new to like certain businesses, like television and film, that is not an easy job. Like as someone who was a trained theater actor, I was always under the impression, oh, television's so much easier, you know? No, I had to wake up at 3 a.m. and be at set by 4 a.m. and start filming at like 3 a.m. and then I wasn't done until like, what? This is crazy. Like, who works at this time in the morning, you know? So I think to work into entertainment and people who work in the arts, and I think we should give them a little bit more grace and support than maybe we do. And I think that if someone really wants to go into that, we shouldn't push them away from that as a career field, because I think we don't know what someone's capable of. I'm a big believer that if that's what you're meant to do, it's going to happen no matter where you're from, what you do, where you've been. I think it's possible. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned. And definitely with my work with high schools, I've definitely seen that there's talent everywhere, and if people really wanted to pursue it, they could. I have no doubt. There's always someone better than you. There's always someone worse than you. And then, so, yeah, I think if we just stopped putting stereotypes on people in entertainment, the world would be a better place, and they won't judge you, and we won't judge them, and it's going to be great. I don't know. There's my cheesy Miss America answer. But
No, man, it was perfect. It was perfect. Thank you. I love it so much. But those are definitely all the questions that I have. Whether you think it or not, I learned a lot from you. So I love this. This was an awesome interview. So thank you so much for coming on. It's going to be posted here immediately. For those of you that have watched everything, if you have any questions, reach out to Dallas. Awesome. Go follow him on Facebook, Instagram, all the above. Go check out the show. And just, support him, because it's phenomenal watching you succeed, man. And I can tell you're very passionate about what you're doing, and you are going to succeed, because I interview a lot of people, and it's fun to watch the ones that clearly got there by luck and the ones that are working their ass off for it. So, and you're the latter, man. I'm proud of you. I'm pumped up for you, and excited to see the big things you do in the future.
Awesome. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for asking me to do this. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. See you, brother.
All right, bye.